We are now recording, and it is the 19th of December 2024. It's my daughter's birthday today, so I'm excited about that. And just for anybody watching this, I have been getting all sorts of trouble from my co-haikuers about this Christmas sweater. And just there's some wonderful things about this Christmas sweater. There's a cow, and if you look at it, you can even put your beer right here. That's what that said right here. Put my drink right here. So you disparaging people.
We stand corrected. We didn't know about the pocket in the front for your beer.
The pocket makes all the difference.
I couldn't even see the cow. So had I known it was a cow and a beer pocket, I wouldn't have. It's unassailable.
Well, the truth be known, I'd never had a Christmas sweater on before about a week ago. And the only reason I got it was because I gave a presentation at Leadership Boise yesterday, and all the participants were asked to come in their ugly Christmas sweaters. And I thought, well, So I got a Christmas sweater, ordered one, and it came as way too big. And so then I went and got I know that's hard to think of. That's hard to imagine that something could be way too big.
No, it's nice when that happens.
But so then I got this one, and I could have got the Grinch, or I could have got any number of things, but I like cows. I have a bovine. I resonate with cattle. So anyway, here we are. Enough of that.
Next month's haiku.
But I jingle. I told my wife yesterday that I'll wear this yesterday, and that's it. I won't ever wear it again. And I don't know. I think she said something. Yeah, you will. You bring it out every once in a while. So here I am bringing it out today, and maybe I'll bring it out more. I don't know.
We're glad you did.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not really a big ugly Christmas sweater fan, but because I love you guys, I wore it just for you. So why don't we talk about haikus? Let me see if I can share my screen. So here we are. Can you see? That should be Christmas red, I hope.
It is.
Good. 5 years and counting. We are up to 44. This is our 44th recording.
Wow.
Oops, I forgot to change that. And we have haikus from everyone. Who would like to go first today? Why don't I go first today?
Yes, you go.
I'm always late. I'm always the last one. So here, I'll scroll through all these. So let's see if I can get this. I want it to be bigger, but I can't get it to be bigger. So anyway, here's this. Let's come on now. There we go. Let's walk together, ever entwined. Sun cast shadows, two, yet one. And then photo taken in Spain this year on the Camino, obviously. And then I took this picture on Spain as well.
Beautiful.
Yeah, as we were rolling along through the deal. I'm supposed to read it, aren't I? Did I read it? I did read it. So
you read it
first.
I can go. Let's is such a joyful, inviting word. Let us walk together. It's not a command. It's not an order. It's a grace-filled invitation to community and to companionship. A gentle hand out on a rugged road. Maybe unity is the invitation. Let us walk together, ever entwined. It's so easy to overlook, forget, or turn a blind eye to our natural connectedness between humans and nature, the sun, the rugged path, the golden hills, and family too. Our culture reinforces individuality, while nature constantly reminds us of our interconnectedness and our innate need for each other for survival and companionship. Shadows are around us always, and so easy not to see. This pause to notice, collect, reflect, bow to the lesson and wisdom of the shadow feels so ordinary and yet so profound. How many shadow lessons have I walked by, not pausing to see?
Great. I you took it there where a place I didn't even think of. So that's fabulous. Thank you. Dr. Karchelman, Dr. Davin Karchelman, or
Well,
DCC.
I love the poem. You'd think after 5 years that I'd get better at this. And I every month we do this, I feel inadequate to the task, but both of you, your poems are, just great. So this one in particular, I think is, just captures what a haiku is supposed to be. So the nature of human experience is immutably social. How is it that simply by walking together, two people can be ever intertwined? Even when we're ostensibly alone, our minds are arranging and rearranging our activities to be inclusive of others, even if it's just possible others who might not actually be with us. Our imaginations have the kind of power that directs and informs our experiences. We often diminish things as imaginary, meaning they're not real, when in fact the opposite is true. Michael's poem captures the power of intention as well. What we want to have happen exerts tremendous influence over what actually happens, as well as influence over one's experience of what is happening. The desire for shared experience shifts the nature of the sun-cast shadows from 2 to 1. I believe this is integral to the hopefulness of the human condition. As wretched and forlorn as we might appear or feel that we are, there is always hope for renewed and reconstructed experience. It begins with other people, and it likely ends there as well. Sartre said famously that hell is other people, but I think reality gets in the way of his proclamation. Things can always be different, and they will always change, and there is great hope in that.
I love that.
Yeah, I love it too.
When you take pictures when you're on the Camino, Michael, do you just use your phone, or do you have some sort of specialized instrument?
Just my phone. Just my phone. The phones are so good these days. And these aren't professional photographs or gonna go off in any. But usually I gen them up a little bit, try to make them a little clearer, but nothing special.
They're beautiful. All of them
Yeah.
that we've seen.
Yeah, you've taken great photos, and it's inspired wonderful poetry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I think our relationship here belies Nietzsche. Hell is other people indeed. So I never heard that phrase before. Hell is other people.
I have to admit there are times I felt that way, but I don't think it's true.
I felt that way more often than I care to admit, to be
We
honest.
all have.
One tries to be a better person than that. Okay. By the way, I just found this cow has horns. He's got a helmet and horns.
Yeah, I noticed that. I wasn't going to mention it because I wasn't sure what you were trying to pull off there. So
It wasn't Vandal Moo or something like that. No. Okay. I actually made and started sending these bookmarks. These are bookmarks, by the way, the casual viewer, just because I love to make bookmarks occasionally, because a lot of the people who follow this kind of work read books. And so they're going to use them instead of just setting them aside or tossing them. So I actually made and started sending these bookmarks shortly after my son Shane and I returned from our trip to the Camino de Santiago in early September. The photos obviously were taken on that trip, and at the risk of being repetitious when talking about this pilgrimage, This is one of the most meaningful activities I've been a part of over my entire lifetime. The shadows are, of course, of he and I on the path, the sun at our backs, and the meaning is real time. Our lives on this path are separate. We are on individual journeys and joint. We are creating experience together. As researchers might say, we are creating new knowledge together, constructing something in our memories that only we will have, both together and individually. I think those times are very relational and intimate in the sense that only we two will ever have that time, that wisdom of the world together. But of course, the haiku is also analogous to larger experience. The oft shared story of a person and the Lord walking along. It's the footprints in the sand story. It's so familiar to so many people, shown by two sets of footprints. And I won't share that now. It's too good a story for me to try to summarize it. But that could be another way of looking at walking together, one person along with God. Or still another way might be even more encompassing in a sense. And that is that we are all intertwined, all walking together, taking our own steps, but as they say, walking each other home, or in this case, walking each other on a real life and spiritual path together, intertwined together.
What what kept coming to my mind as I was kind of thinking through your poem, um, was it Tom Hanks, the movie when he was stranded on the island, and he had just so hungry for other people that he, Wilson the volleyball, and so just that we, if we don't have other people, we make them up, to be with us. Just where we
But
are.
you would think he would be in heaven if hell is other people, but no,
Exactly.
he had to create Wilson.
Yeah, exactly.
That's interesting.
Well,
Okay,
thank you
who
for
wants to go
sharing
next?
thank you for sharing your pilgrimage with us through poetry and photography. It's
We're
wonderful.
starting to plan our trip right now for the next 125 miles. We've got 250 miles to go.
Wow.
We're halfway there after 3 years, and we're going to cover the last half in 2 years. So 125 years together, or miles together. We hope that's our plan anyway.
That's great.
Hey,
I think we should do Davin's.
Davin's. Okay, here we go. Let's go way up here past the owls. Can you see it? Okay. There's Davin, and Davin, I'll let you explain it. There's the first picture. It's probably what you wanted to be the second picture. And here is the actual haiku. I'm sorry, I haven't, this just skips back and forth. I can't make it smooth.
No problem at all.
So go ahead.
Simple peasant girl, God chose her. Teen delusions, mother of Jesus.
I liked the artwork that you chose.
I do too.
It's all Canva this month. I can't take credit for anything there. The first one there is supposed to be the Annunciation, but my understanding of the Annunciation, that doesn't fit all that well with it. But for those who are watching, that's supposed to be the Annunciation.
It's an interesting looking Gabriel archangel, but it could be, right? Isn't that true? Isn't that Gabriel who came?
It's a very, very feminine looking Gabriel in that version.
With the dove.
Very European looking.
Yes.
Setup.
As I told our candlelight service the other night, I am not a biblical scholar at all. So, okay. Amy, first or second? You just
Doesn't matter. You want to go?
I will go. Because a little dog just joined me, as you may have seen. So, Davin's haiku. So, speaking of which, in our candlelight series at church, we just finished an Advent series where we looked at Mary's journey from the visitation, which is what this is, to birth, to Egypt, and then back to Nazareth, as what Joseph Campbell would call the hero's journey. It's interesting to think about the hero's journey as Campbell described it, and that has been popularized. George Lucas even found inspiration in it as he was conceptualizing Star Wars in the beginning, which I found interesting. So we did a little more research though, because Campbell's heroes were nearly all men. But the hero's journey can also be conceptualized as the heroine's journey. Maureen Murdoch's book, The Heroine's Journey, Women's Quest for Wholeness, divides the heroine's journey into 10 stages, which she thought more pertinent to women's journeys. Her book was first published in 1990, and she's thought to be the first to have conceptualized the heroine's journey from a woman's perspective. And others like Victoria Lynn Schmidt, writing in 45 Master Characters, Mythic Models for Creating Original Characters. That's a long title of a book, 2012. Also thought of the heroine's journey in terms of stages, which are more illustrative of the actual process of women's journeys. In Davin's picture in Haiku, Mary is just beginning her journey. By the end of her journey, when she returns to Nazareth, she's been through so much. We can imagine how she has persevered through hardship, no different in many respects than heroes such as, say, Hercules has come back. As T.S. Eliot writes, we shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. Mary left and came back. Mary returns to where she started, knowing it more deeply than she did when she first started. But her journey isn't finished there. She has a son to raise and to share with the world.
Very
Perfect.
interesting. Love it.
Perfect.
All right. Mary, the mother of Jesus, is a compelling character. We know so much and so little about her. I recently finished the book, The First Advent in Palestine, which in part asks what political and cultural climate did the angel visit Mary, Elizabeth, mother of John, and Joseph in? The scriptures are quiet about the 300 plus years between the last writings in the Old Testament and the angels visiting an ordinary priest, Zechariah, the peasant girl, Mary, and a young carpenter, Joseph. They lived in political unrest and uncertainty, and division was in the air they breathed. Into that climate, angels broke through. Mary was simple, probably a teen, and the one the angels chose. Mary became a choir leader, her shadow forever intertwined always with Jesus. Together with Jesus and Joseph, they walked rough paths to Bethlehem, Egypt, and Nazareth. Did Mary hear the choir of owls and see them bow down? Did she ponder her shadow and Jesus' shadow walking together? Mother of Jesus, a mother who shows us how to walk paths to peace.
Nice
Owls
work.
owls bowing down. Yes.
Nice work.
Bring it together. I can always find the way.
You should be a doctoral student, Amy, or a scholar, because you intertwine things and pull things together in such imaginative ways.
Thank you.
So it's interesting, so the University of Dayton is a Marianist, so Catholic Marianist university. So part of what I'll talk about here in a second is some of that. Yeah, I mean, and there are just assumptions that my poem makes. It's part of the story that we hear all the time. Okay, peasant girl, teenager. You see pictures of Mary. At least I do here at Dayton. In every stage of where Mary might have been, it's kind of part of the beauty of is they offer these reflections on Mary that are sort of all encompassing of the lifespan, and it's really a beautiful thing. So, teaching at a Catholic Marianist university, Mary, the mother of Jesus, is in front of me on a daily basis. Artwork is everywhere: statues, prints, prayers, special library collections that celebrate Mary and attempt to capture her spirit so that we can conduct ourselves better. The Marianists are an order of vowed religious and lay members who strive to live their lives following Mary's model. The Marianist charism, the special characteristics of the order's way of life, is what we call the special sauce of our university. It's something that really makes it great. This poem really came to my mind from the Canticle of Mary, which often is called Mary's Magnificat, from the first chapter of Luke, verses 46 to 55. And it's especially poignant this time of year. And what she says is truly remarkable. My soul proclaims the greatness of the Lord. My spirit rejoices in God, my Savior, for he has looked with favor on his lowly servant. From this day, all generations will call me blessed. The Almighty has done great things for me, and holy is his name. So these were her words. It goes on, it's much longer than that. But that sort of gets the gist of what made me write the poem. These are her words immediately following the Annunciation, when she learned that she would bear a child who just happened to be the Son of God. Irrespective of one's interest or belief in this particular story, you can't deny or ignore its impact on the world. This moment changed the world. I imagine living in Mary's community as a neighbor, observing with shock and awe the audacity of this teenage girl announcing that all generations will call her blessed because she got pregnant. Most likely, I would have been embarrassed, angry, certainly curious. And then I would have dismissed the whole episode as teenage daydreams, assuming that human nature today is likely the same as it was then, which I think it is. It's a preposterous story that ignited an even more preposterous way of living, the Jesus way. And that way is literally the water we swim in. It's the air we breathe, whether you want it to be or not. It's humbling to imagine my response, as I imagine my response would have been millennia ago. It's very humbling. I also think it's very hopeful to look at the world differently today as a result. And I think that that's part of the power of the Marianist spirit. So what different eyes do we need, for something like that to be seen today?
So interesting. Now I have a lot to ponder. How would I have been?
Yeah, it would have been very easily disregarded and
For sure.
yeah.
Yeah. That is really great, Davin. That was really thought-provoking and interesting and so well written. I and Davin knows this, Amy, but I don't know if you do, but I didn't know anything about the Marianists until Davin went to work for him. And I didn't really know much about it until he invited me to come stay at his house for 2 or 3 days. And so then I got to tour the campus and see just what he pointed out. And I actually got some nice pictures on my little camera, on my little phone of these Marys. And then I actually looked at their website. If you ever get a chance to look at their website, you'll see the values that they have and the things that they care about that are Marianist. And so it's just really interesting and really, I think, useful. It's a deepening, profound thing to think about. Yeah.
So
Thank you,
interesting.
Davin. That was nice. I think we come last, but certainly not least. Who
Come to the owls.
who could it be? Who could be next? Who? Oh, it's Amy. Okay.
Mine this month was She Was a Shadow, leading the choir of owls, bowing down each song.
And then
I just found this quote: "The owl sees through the darkness, illuminating the soul's path."
And
Unknown source.
the unknown source quote there changed my whole perspective on the whole poem.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
it's amazing how that happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, owls are one of my favorites.
Me too.
I'm happy to start.
Yes, please.
One of my favorite children's books is Owl Moon. It captures the deep silence and stillness combined with the powerful sensory engagement of owling, or looking for owls after dark, usually. Engaging nature in a meaningful way always feels like that book, like Owl Moon to me, as someone who likes to spend a lot of time in nature. Unnecessary noise and chatter distracts. The rewards of time in nature come primarily through focus and attentiveness. If you make noise and aren't attending to the matter at hand, you will not see an owl. It reminds me of time I've spent at Boy Scout camp. Even though you're in the woods in most cases, you almost never see an animal. There was simply too much activity. All the animals are just too afraid to come anywhere near a Boy Scout camp. Owling, or any time in nature, pays dividends only to those who stay quiet. The owl of Minerva, or Athena, symbolizes wisdom, which is understood to come only at dusk. I've always thought this meant the wisdom of maturity, or the dusk of life. But Amy's poem suggests something additional in the owl's nocturnal vision. Perhaps the wisdom is earned as one sees through dark times, quietly moving forward in spite of the challenge, knowing that better things await. As Amy says, the owl sees through the darkness, a truly powerful kind of wisdom. There's reverence as well in bowing down the choir songs as the owls join each other in hopeful chant that only the calm and patient will ever get to enjoy. There's so much to learn about life in the simple act of owling.
I love what you did. I've never heard that term owling. I do it all the time. I didn't know there was a term.
I might have made it up. To be honest, I don't remember. It's
I
on
love it.
paper. Let's make it
It
real.
should be a term if it's not. We're making it one right
From
now.
now on, I'm citing you when the term owling comes up in any case.
And
Nice.
anytime I see a cow with horns, I'm citing you.
That's faint praise. That is faint praise indeed. Yeah. And what was the name of the book? Owling?
Owl Moon.
Owl Moon.
Hmm.
I've often howled at the moon myself, but I've never formally anyway owled the moon. How cool is that?
It's best
That
done
was
in the
well done. I learned so much in these things, just so much.
Every time.
And you know, it's true. Animals, unless you're a raccoon going through trash, animals go nowhere near a Boy Scout camp.
Never thought of that, but as soon as you said it, I'm like, oh, that makes total sense. That tracks.
I can't remember where I read it. It might have been The Jungle Book, by Kipling or places like that, where, and maybe some other places, but where you're taking the animal's perspective and the animals can hear humans' footprints stepping, a long way away. And so they find ways not to be seen. And I'm sure that's literally true as well. And so from an animal's perspective, humans have got to be the most dangerous creatures on earth. And that's a sad thing.
I think we are actually I think we are actually the most dangerous creature on Earth. Like a close second is a mosquito, but that's it.
Yeah. Cockroaches. They're not dangerous, but they're going to be here long after we are, I think. Cucarachas. Amy captures better and more regularly than any of us the wonder of nature. She does it in her weekly essays, which I hope everyone subscribes to. I'm looking at you if you're not subscribing to them. And she does it with us many times with haikus. Here, her focus is on owls. In her haiku, she has a shadow of an owl leading other owls from the dark. Wouldn't we appreciate leaders more if they were to lead more invisibly and in less self-promoting ways? I don't know what Amy meant by bowing down each song, but it's a wonderful phrase. I thought of bowing down as in bowing low to honor the music being sung. And I thought it might be interpreted to mean that the owls cause the songs to bow down, to humbly share their gift of song to the world. Along with Amy's haiku is the profound quote she added about how the owl also sees. I wish I could see as well as an owl physically, but I also wish I had the ability to illuminate my own soul's path and to help others find their own way along the trail. It's a gift to do that. And as I think about it, it's one that Amy, through her writing, spiritual direction, and the way she leads her life, provides so many others through her own light glowing from within. Glow.
Ah, thank you.
Very true.
Either that or else you're a, what do they call those things? A firefly.
Oh, what? Firefly?
Firefly. Flickering. I love that. I love
Well,
that.
I'm going to answer your question about the bowing down. So
All right.
I hear a choir of owls once or twice a week in the early morning or late evenings. Every owl in our small valley seems to find their perch and join the choir of hoots. I like to sit outside and listen. One seems to lead, and from north, south, east, and west, other owls join in adding their deep bass bass call to the ensemble. Just this week, I heard the choir, and it sounded like perhaps the leader was near. From my front step, I could see a large owl, her silhouette really, in the pre-moon darkness on the top of my neighbor's roof just across the street. As I listened to her lead the choir, I noticed that with each call, hoot, and note, she would begin standing tall and end bowed down, almost parallel to the roof. This struck me because I have been known to occasionally bow to trees, owls, and other birds I encounter on my walks. I'll bring my hands to prayer position when I find a sleepy owl in the tree or notice how the light is glimmering through the trees, bow my head and say, I bid you peace, or the Christ in me bows to the Christ in you. It's my way of reminding myself of our mutuality, our need for each other in our complexly beautiful world. To see the majestic owl bowing with each note to her fellow creatures. Maybe that's just how owls create the deep call, or maybe she was bowing in awe, reverence, and grace to her fellow creatures. I hope that's what I saw.
You are really, really lucky to have, that kind of owl choir, so frequently around your place. That's really awesome.
It's amazing. It's amazing, especially this time of year. They're just almost every night you can hear them.
Very
When you
cool.
think of that community you live in, I think I don't really think that it's so close to all these nature things. I mean, it's kind of a separate community, but there's a lot of houses there. I mean, they keep growing too.
Yeah,
It's like, how long will you have that? Hopefully a
I don't
long
know,
time.
but we enjoy it while we have it now.
Yeah, no kidding. Wow. Well, friends, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Anything else for the good of the cause before we get out of here?
Just glad to have had another wonderful year doing haiku with the two of you. Thank you.
I'm so glad we were able to fit it in. Kind of felt
Yep.
like it was,
Well,
didn't
it's
know
been
what was going to
interesting.
happen.
The last one we did was like in October. It's, our schedules have been so crazy this year with everything. I mean, just
Mhm.
everything. I'm pretty proud of us for keeping on the schedule and trying every darn month to get it done. And so keeping in that habit will keep us doing this, I think, for a long
Yes,
time.
yes.
Okay, Merry Christmas. It's a true blessing to be with both of you, and I learn from you every time, and I feel like a lot of love with you guys. So see you later.